Hey, welcome to week one. This is our intro. My name is Dr. Jeff Stark, and I'll be taking this journey with you over the course of the next 8 weeks in our class on life management and personal development. And very excited to be with you. I've been a pastor for the last 17 years. I'm currently finishing up a ministry that I've been engaged in here in Pekin, Illinois, for the last 5 years. My last Sunday will be about the last week of our class. Then I'll be making a move to Chicago, where I'll work alongside the university in the Chicago Central District to work on church planting and missional ministries within the city. I'm also an associate professor at Olivet and director for the Center for Theological Leadership. And I've taught several classes now in the master's program, and so I'm excited to share this journey with you. This class for me is a really exciting class because I think it really gets at the heart of what it means to be a missional leader. And I think if we're not careful, and we talk a lot about missional leadership, whether it's within pastoral leadership, whether it's in urban ministry, or whether it's taking a broad look at compassionate ministries, church planting, in whatever area that you're interested in pursuing, I think if we're not careful and we don't attend to the rhythms of grace and the kind of development that we need as leaders, it sets us up for problems down the road. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to take a journey together in which we come to terms with what do we need to be aware of within our own lives, wrestling through the spiritually formative practices that will nurture us throughout the course of our ministries. We're going to talk about what does it mean to recognize God's presence faithfully in every aspect of what we do day in and day out. And then how that reflects upon the nature of our theology. Then we're going to take a journey through a book called Abba's Child, written by a gentleman by the name of Brendan Manning. And this book, I think, is tremendous for helping us to identify some of the key components in our lives that I think often will, if we're not careful, sabotage us. That many of us operate out of what we're going to come to call an imposter, this sense of false self that has been shaped and formed throughout the years of our lives that maybe have been untouched by the grace of Jesus, who wants to renew and make us whole and make us new. And so we're going to spend some time and we're going to talk a little bit about that moving forward throughout this course. Then we're going to talk a little bit about emotional awareness. I think one of the things that binds leadership is a lack of emotional awareness. That's one of the things that I think I've had to work through in my life, is how I come across emotionally as a leader, how I set the temperature for the room, and am I conscious of or reflective of the ways in which how I conduct myself can impact and influence those that I try to lead, given the dynamics of the different kinds of situations that I find myself in fairly regularly as a leader. And then we're going to end with a book called The Resilience Factor, which very excited about. We actually went through this as a church, and I think this really helps us to cultivate what does it mean to be a resilient person emotionally, but also as a leader. I don't think you can lead well without resilience. I think leadership requires the capacity to stand true, to stand firm, and to stand bold and courageous in the midst of whatever that we face. So this is going to be a really, I think, probably a challenging class, not in terms of maybe the academic rigor, but in terms of the spiritual development that God will want to do in your heart as a leader, as you're leaning into who God is calling you and creating you to be as a leader in the various ministries that He's leading you towards. And so that for that part of it, I am very excited. Now, there's going to be several assignments that I think are going to help with this. We're going to do a rule of life, which is a Benedictine practice, and we'll talk a little bit about that as this course goes on. There's going to be a silence and solitude retreat, one of those moments where you sort of get away with God and you give Him space to speak into your life and to help you sort of reflect upon where you are as a leader. Now, as you've noted, there's 5 books and there's 4 book reviews. If you follow the syllabus all the way down to the tentative schedule, what you're going to see is that you're going to find that there is about every week or every other week, there's going to be an opportunity to do a book review. You're going to find that on the syllabus. The first one is going to be the Wesleyan Spiritual Formation, then Liturgy of the Ordinary, and then you'll do a Canvas response as a part of conversation that we'll have about Abba's Child, but then you're going to do a letter for your imposter, which is what will cover your Abba's Child, and that will reflect how well you've read that book. And then you're going to do Primal Leadership, and then you're going to finish with the Resilience Factor. So that's sort of the line of books that you're going to be reading throughout this course. I will also be posting lectures. I don't know, I'm hearing that that's not typical of all the courses, but I try to at least every week, but sometimes 6 of the 8 weeks, I try to post lectures in which I try to post 3 to 4 10-minute lectures that you can watch and reflect on. And these lectures, I think, help us. I think they add value to what we're wrestling through and leaning into. And then we're going to have discussion and responses about those lectures online. And so that's a part of the regular rhythm of this class. I understand that 5 books is a lot of books to read in an 8-week period. For some of us, that seems like a very daunting task. I will say this: two of the 5 books are not heavy reads. Liturgy of the Ordinary and Abba's Child, they're not heavy reads. I mean, you may want to read them devotionally, but they're not heavy academic reads. The last 2 are probably your most difficult books to read in terms of content and the amount, and so you're going to want to make sure and pace yourself. Now, understand, this is a graduate course for me, and so I expect graduate level work. When you're writing papers for me, you should be reflecting on the material in the course or the books that are being reviewed, and there should be citations. You should have a good Turabian format to your papers. I would expect footnotes at the bottom of the pages. And I'm just going to ask you this, because I've run into this in some of my other courses. That you would do the hard work of making sure you're proofreading your papers. I don't want to have to be a grammar police. I really don't. I'm really much more a content person. But if I can't get past the first few lines without constantly correcting something that you're doing, we've got a problem. So if you're not very good at reviewing, find someone who is and have them read your paper. If you're on campus or near campus, use the Writing Center. If that's something that would be helpful to you, I want to advise you to do so, because I really want to focus on the content of your papers. And in that, this is a graduate level course, and so the kind of content you're putting back to me should reflect that this is a graduate level course. And so I'm really excited for this journey. Again, I really believe that if we attend to the rhythms of grace in our lives, if we become aware of who we are as leaders and the things that we need to develop and work on, these things are going to set us up for longevity, because that's really the key in ministry, isn't it? It's longevity. I really believe that God wants us to be in this for the long haul. And I'm going to be open and share some personal story and personal journey of my own, in which longevity has maybe been called into question because of a failure to practice those rhythms of grace at times in my ministry over 17 years. And so I want to talk to you a little bit about that. I'm going to be open about those things so we can reflect upon them. We're going to do some biblical reading as well in our lectures, and we're going to be reflecting upon some of the leadership that we see in the scriptures, both good and bad. And so we're gonna ask questions about that as well. So again, looking forward to this journey, looking forward to being with you over the course of this journey, and looking forward to what God wants to do in this journey as we all together lean in and learn from one another about what it means to commit ourselves to a lifelong journey and discipline of spiritual improvement day in and day out, spiritual formation, spiritual growth, and the desire that we would continually lean into who God has called and created us to be. Looking forward to being part of this journey with you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, jsstark@olivet.edu. Again, that's jsstark@olivet.edu, or you can call me, and my phone number is listed there on the syllabus as well. God bless you, and we're looking forward to taking this journey. I'll upload the first lectures on day 3 for you. Thank you.